Go.
They have the hard-hitting analysis.
I'm anti-injury, so maybe this won't work out.
Kyler's only playing one tight end this week, so that's probably going to help him out a lot.
They tell it like it is.
That's not what I needed, Grandma Nut.
All right, the hipster fantasy player.
I don't do anything.
Their listeners love them.
Found all your charts boring, to be frank. Caitlin was the star of the show.
They break down all the statistics.
20 points. That doesn't quite add up. Maybe he had 93.
This is the Snick Snack Sports Podcast.
Here we... All right, Snickers, help me out.
What's going on, all you sports fans out there? Welcome back to the Snick Snack Sports Fantasy Football Podcast. How are you doing today, Nate?
Doing great tonight, Snickers. How are you?
Doing great. You're coming at us live from New York. You're on the road 2 weeks in a row.
That's right. Start my own travelogue. I'll probably be on the road during our episode a couple of weeks too. Have all these weddings to go to. I was visiting my brother last week for the ALZ ride, as you all heard. This week I'm at a wedding in New York City. We got beautiful Central Park out my window.
Wow. That's exciting.
Yeah. Big day in New York. The Mets just won, I guess, right before the show. And we are here to tell you more about fantasy football. A tough week for my team, I'll say right away. Well done, Kenny. You did win fair and square, and it was a heart-wrenching loss because of how it happens. I thought for sure I was going to win going into the last game. That mattered for our matchup, but not to be.
No, you guys had a close game all throughout the weekend there. And
it was
great.
Performed
well.
A great back and forth. I think I got third place on the week for the league. I'm in fourth place in points total for the league right now, but at 2-4, which is not a good record. And
that's right.
There was a point going into the last game with the Bengals where I was projected to get 145 points, which would have blown his score away. And then I saw that slowly dwindle to my final resting place of 122.
Yeah, Burrow's scoring under 20, which was exactly his projection. Kind of hurt, I guess, but
and he scored all his points in the first half.
Yeah.
And then Zach Moss got 0, which didn't help me at all, of course, and that was that. But you won last week. Now we're both 2-4.
I did. I'm a happy 2-4 right now after taking care of Kyler like I should have there. But yeah, my team's only getting better, it seems, honestly, and we still don't have my best player on the field yet. So I'll take the 2-4 right now. Got 25% chance to make the playoffs here. We're heading up, and we're not looking back here.
Very nice. And that wasn't the only thing to celebrate for you this week because you got on the board with the bets.
Yeah, absolutely. We had Bijan Robinson, me, versus Breece Hall, you. And, of course, I chose the better player there. Bijan's outscored Breece by a 1.5. So it was actually a really, really fun bet, really close one this week. And that's what bets are supposed to be, not like our week one bet where it was 1 versus half a point or something.
And there was definitely that potential with Bijan and Breece. This has not been the year that people were expecting out of like the 3rd and 4th draft pick on average. But this week, they both earned that kind of recognition. It looked like people were expecting, and 2 touchdowns each, I think.
Yeah, against some pretty easy running matchups, at least there. It was pretty good games to watch.
Yeah, and now let's take a look at the standings. My standings are back up and running, and here they are. We still have an undefeated team in Kyle. Well done.
Good job, Kyle, going against the team that scored 79 points last week.
Now, that does not mean that he's guaranteed the playoffs. As Ducky reminded me a couple weeks ago, there was a year when he was 6-0 and did not make the playoffs.
That was an amazing year. I remember that was Ducky's first loss on the season. We were in DC that weekend meeting Nick Adams. And it was this Halloween weekend a couple years ago. That was a fun year.
And likewise, Katie is 0-6. I don't have any anecdotes to share about 0-6 teams in our league that have made the playoffs. I think I've made it on like 2-5 or something. Was probably 2-4 before that, which I am now. So
my first time ever playing fantasy football in college, I was in the league of my friends, and I was doing really well. There was some guy that was 0-5, I think, and he ended up winning the league. So that year.
It certainly can happen for Katie. I think if she gets one more loss, she might be eliminated, but not definitely eliminated. Two more losses and she's done.
Yeah, gotta get back on track here, Katie.
Um, looking at the points scored, Katie is unfairly kind of being villainized here by the matchups because she's in what's that? Seventh or eighth place right now.
Yeah, no,
In
she's
points
ahead of
scored.
a couple teams on the offense. Then just me and her are the ones that are getting hit by the our defenses here. But mine's getting a little bit better, catching up, and then Katie's should be catching up too. She obviously has a harder part of the schedule at the beginning of the season here.
Yeah, you guys rough on the points against, and also she has more points than you on the season.
She does. Yeah.
But I also feel like I've been victimized a bit. Fourth place and points scored. Had strung together some very good weeks, but only two wins to show for it. But I'm not worried. Not worried at all. I think John should be worried. I think Shane should be worried. And Kyler. But
And Shane's getting his quarterback back, AR-15, coming back in this week, which I don't know if he's gonna end up playing him or not because I think he might be over that, but let's see how that goes.
The only other thing I thought was noteworthy here was that at one point, Ducky was far and away the points scored leader, and then it was Kyle. Now we see that there's a three pack up there. Matt kind of quietly snuck into a powerhouse position, um, and he deserves his 4-2 in my opinion.
Matt's had at least two really good points weeks in a row, and yeah, his team's looking pretty good. I know he had a couple off games at the start of the year, but yeah, 4-2. It's looking good after three straight wins here.
And now what's the news going on in the NFL? There's some very positive news coming out this week.
Yeah, definitely. We got a couple guys coming back. We got Malik Neighbors off his concussion. We got Nick Chubb playing for the first time this season. We got Anthony Richardson back, like we just said here. And big news, just got shot in the chest 8 weeks ago. Ricky Pearsall making his debut this weekend
Yeah, good for
for the
Ricky.
Chiefs, so that's a great game for him. But rookie for the San Francisco 49ers, it's good news there. A little bad news, Rashid Shaheed, the number one player on the Saints, is out for the season after he got some surgery and big trades going on in the NFL. Devontae Adams, Raiders to the Jets.
Mhm.
Mari Cooper, Browns to the Bills. Cam Akers, equally biggest trade. Texans to the Vikings. Yes, Cam Akers just predicted 0 this week.
And he's back on the Vikings. I hadn't heard about that trade.
Yeah, back second time around.
Now, speaking of these trades, this is the kind of the basis for our bet this week. Again, right now I'm up 4-1. But basically we know that Garrett Wilson is considered the wide receiver one in the Jets, probably not anymore. And this week it's a question of will Devontae Adams immediately take the role or will he need to earn it? And
Mm.
you've said Devontae's going to have it right away. He knows Aaron Rodgers. He knows Nathaniel Hackett. I said Garrett has 1 week. I think we both agree eventually it'll be Devontae, but
Yeah, no, I think Devontae is obviously the better player, been doing it a lot longer. Did Garrett Wilson change his number, or they're both 17, so I don't know what number they're going to be at. I should have thought about that before the thing started. Devontae Adams wearing like 9 or something. I might have to switch my pick, but
that's
it's
interesting. So that means there could be some beef between them, perhaps.
yeah. But no, Devontae Adams, obviously the better player. Obviously going to get a lot more targets from Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is going to forget what Wilson's first name is after this game.
I don't know about that. Think about also the narrative of like the Antonio Brown, Juju Smith-Schuster situation. Juju had a great year with Antonio taking all the attention away from him. That could be
Yeah.
Garrett.
And then Juju fumbled the game away against New Orleans in the last week, second to last week of the season.
He still had a great year.
He did have
And
a great year, and I won the fantasy that year. So
so it could be that, Garrett is just one of more of those wide receiver two types, and they have weeks where, he actually does rise above.
yeah, that'll be fun to see how that goes here.
Now, looking at some of the key matchups from last week, I'm interested to highlight Matt's actually, because he's been so hot recently. Let's get this window out of the way. Come on. Well,
Yeah, Lamar Jackson, Stephon Diggs, Garrett Wilson last week had a great game in the loss against Buffalo.
oh yeah,
Yeah, Matt's doing good, but
yeah. He didn't. I guess last week wasn't the
uh,
huge splash. It was mostly that Shane's team is was mediocre again. But one thing Matt texted me and told me I can tell the whole league is Lamar is not playing this week.
no,
But nope, Lamar's being benched. He has been usurped. It is, in fact, Drake May who will be making the start. They actually scored very similarly last week, believe it or not.
yeah, Drake May 3 touchdowns. It's going to be May coming to Matt's team here against
Mhm.
Jacksonville Jaguars. Lamar Jackson going up against Tampa Bay. Apparently thinks it's too tough a defense, or Matt's just doesn't like winning that much and wants to go to 4-3. What do you
Yeah,
think?
I think he's getting a little cocky, but he's also excited about the Drake May, that he showed some potential. I hope that continues, and I hope that it's the right call, actually. As a Patriots fan, I hope that it turns out that Drake May is excellent for fantasy. Like I don't think it's going to happen, but I hope it.
Yeah, Drake May, first Patriots quarterback to throw 3 touchdowns in the game since Bailey Zappi, who did that one time against the Packers. Remember that?
I do. I also remember when Sam Darnold threw like 5 touchdowns one game, and that was back when he was bad. So I touchdowns don't excite me as much as yards do with new quarterbacks.
Mm.
We'll see. I mean, there's some level before you can start throwing touchdowns, and obviously Jacoby Brissett was not throwing touchdowns, so there's some hope there. Um,
Yeah, but yeah, looking at the other matchups, obviously I came up with actually just a 3 point win. It was a lot closer than I wanted it to be. Dalton Kincaid ended up getting me over the hump there with a couple extra catches. You had the tight loss against Kenny,
yeah,
7 points, but if Joey B had just been a little more cool, then maybe he could have thrown one more touchdown pass. He probably would have got it with those yards. But the
yeah,
big surprise last week was Ducky being projected to lose to Katie at the end of Sunday Night Football, and he ended up winning by just over a point here, just under a point.
yeah. That one was really interesting 'cause obviously Katie's team has been the struggle bus this year. Um, and she's obviously feeling very dejected about it all. And she put together a good week. 119. We said that generally, if you score 111 points, you should expect to win. She did that.
Mm.
Played one of the best scorers in the league. He did what he does and couldn't make it happen, but just barely. Who was the player that won it for him? Was it Derrick Henry? No, that wasn't. It was whatever that late game was.
Yeah, and Wandale Robinson was in Sunday Night Football, and it looks like
Um,
that's what maybe it was going into Sunday Night Football. He was projected to lose.
yeah, because he obviously didn't do excellent, but he did enough. Um,
Yeah,
and she actually got a good performance out of Romeo Dobbs, picked him up off the waiver wire, so good for Katie. She doesn't usually pick too many guys up. Um, DeAndre Swift has had a bit of a turnaround for her. Josh Allen, people were down about him, but he had a fine week. Um, and
yeah.
yeah, so that was kind of the highlights there. And in just a moment, we'll have on our guest today, John, to talk about the upcoming week and his season as a whole. But before we do, we got a quick word from today's sponsor.
Are you tired of boring snacks? The same old nuts or ruts? Too much of a fuss to make muss? Give meat snacks a try. Meat snacks are a new delicious food brought to you by the geniuses behind Aloe Vera Margarita and Road Pasta. They are made from 100% food with plenty of added sugar. Kids love them, adults love them, everyone except the Dutch love them, but the Dutch can get rid. No, seriously, fuck the Dutch. If you want a new food you can wank, yank, or spank, get meat snacks, and justice for Hank.
Yeah, thanks, Meat Snacks, for contributing to the show once again. Can't happen without you. And now, please welcome John to the show. John, how you doing tonight?
Not bad, Nate. How are you doing?
Doing
Long time
well.
no see. Haven't been part of the podcast in a bit.
Yeah, where's the usually you join us with a cowboy hat, but no hat this year. Is that because the Hovers
Oh,
Patrol's trash?
this can.
Yeah, I mean,
Great,
John,
great point, Nate. You're absolutely right. I forgot. Although, what type of shape is it in? Who knows?
It looks like it's in the same shape as your team.
yeah, John, all three of us are 2-4 right now.
All three of us are 2-4 right now, and I'm getting this much shit talked to me.
Well,
Well, I
because
think
your two
all
wins were a lot long ago than our two wins were.
and I think if we look at the example one or whatever, we can see why. The Dolphins got 0 points last week. John, why was that?
I mean, there's a whole host of reasons why the Dolphins defense sucks. Last week they just took the week off. Unbelievable, I know.
Yeah, and what did remind me? Why did Ramondre score 0?
God, I don't know. He
Um,
actually played, right? Look at that.
he did not play.
He did not play.
No, he was an injured.
Oh man. Well, I mean, who knows these things ahead of time?
Yeah, I wish that, you know what, someone would be rich if they invented a platform where they just told you that stuff.
You know what they should have on these platforms? There should be an option that just says play my active players. Why is that not a thing? It is
It
2024.
it is an option, John. There's a single click option of just play what you think will be the best lineup, and you did not click it. You didn't even
Where,
bother.
where is this?
It's
Wait,
the
wait, wait,
very
every week I have to click it, or once the beginning of the season?
it's every week you got to
Yeah,
click it.
yeah. See, no, 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 no. And there should be a checkbox that is just, or should the default should be if there's a player that's out at like game time, it just slots in the next highest projected guy.
But then are we playing fantasy football or are we watching fantasy football?
Well, so it wouldn't be. It's like, do you think auto draft is better? No, that's
No,
just
you're
based off the points. So it's like a little catch-all to avoid, some people not sitting in their lineup.
Yeah, I
I
I
mean,
don't want to blame anybody in particular. Certainly not
I think you
somebody
should play
here.
Amon-Ra St. Brown. I mean, Jalen Polk's obviously better than Amon-Ra.
Jalen Polk. Whoa.
like do you mean you're starting wide receiver? Is that the Wahoo?
Yeah, who are we talking about?
But yes, John, every year we bring up this conversation, and there's a league format called Best Ball where you just draft your draft, and then it does set up your lineup every week. But the issue in our league is sometimes you don't have two tight ends, or sometimes you don't have two defenses, or another running back. You have to go onto the waiver wire to pick them up too. So
That's fine. See, I'm okay if you don't have the player on your team, it shouldn't be picking up or dropping people,
okay,
but it should play them. I mean, this
Uh,
is this is simple stuff, ESPN.
no, I don't hate your idea, and obviously I think it's the idea that they don't want to like reward inactivity, but I kind of agree that it does stink when your player gets injured, declared out like 2 seconds before the game and you didn't even notice. That's not what happened here, mind you, but
What do you mean? How do you know
it does happen.
that?
Um,
Hey, I did not have service all week. I don't know what you guys want from me.
um, I don't know. People make it happen, John. I've been traveling around the country and sitting in my lineup.
Oh yeah, where you been?
Right now I'm in New York.
Oh no shit, that's cool. What are you doing there,
We have a wedding tomorrow to go to,
son?
but I wasn't invited to the rehearsal dinner, so here I am.
Oh, you should snub the wedding
Yeah,
or have an objection.
I might not go.
Okay.
Um,
Just drive out to show your anger.
so now looking at next week's matchups, John, we'll turn to yours first.
Okay, I haven't set my lineup next week either. Hold up. Hold up. Give me like 5 minutes. We'll pause the podcast so I can have a full lineup.
That's okay. You can talk about your decisions right now.
Oh yeah, okay.
So
well,
this is
yeah, this is an easy one, John. I think your running back zero is pretty easy to fill.
Yeah, so yeah, this is what your lineup is currently set as. How do you fix this?
All right, so Cam Akers stays. I like his name.
Okay, so he is playing this week from what I understand, but he did get
Or is
traded.
he?
So his
Hey,
zero
is
is
Mixon back?
Nixon is back, yeah. He
he
was
was
the
back.
number one running back in the league, I think, last week.
That's brutal.
Yeah, you didn't play your two best players. That is true.
I think they were like out like 2 weeks ago or something, so I had to take them out.
Yeah,
Yep.
that
Yep.
is true. They were both out 2 weeks ago. One was on bye.
That's another thing. There should not be a bye week in football. It just confuses fantasy way too much.
The players are trying to get a second bye week when they had the 18th games of the season in a couple of years.
Yeah, it's because the football players are soft.
Get paid too much too.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
All right. So I mean, obviously we slot in Mixon for Akers. And then Raw is good. What's Polk doing nowadays?
Nick, can you click on his season stats
How's
there?
how's Jackson?
might take forever to load, but I can try.
Because like I'll be honest, I can't really be associated with Kansas City.
Yeah, that's why you're keeping Rasheed Rice in your bench.
Yeah.
So
Is
far in
he
the
actually good?
season,
I didn't see
He
him.
was good. He's injured now.
he's out for the season.
Oh.
These are the outputs from Jalen Polk so
Oh.
far, John. You can see he scored 8 points one week.
Hey Nate, I have a trade for you. I have this sweet running back that's being or wide receiver that's being slept on.
Yeah, what's his name?
Polk.
Do you mean
A lot of
Jalen?
people think he's trash, but he's got potential.
I think a lot of people believe he has potential. He is a rookie, but and he does have a rookie quarterback who they were hoping would be the apple of his eye. But you do have players who are much better than him at the moment.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, those two get slotted in. So you're saying Rice is out for this season?
Yeah.
That's brutal. What about Taylor? That pile of human garbage.
Yeah, he should be coming back soon. I don't not this week, I don't think, or maybe this week, but he's he's been injured, yeah, after his huge season a couple years ago.
This
Is
guy,
Brooks
Jonathan
coming
Brooks,
back?
he'll be back soon too.
I feel like my whole team just like collectively got injured like week two.
That could be one excuse for your difficulties. But you put in those two players, you'll get 24 more points. That'll put you up over 90 anyways. No, up over 100, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Over 100, 103, something like that.
yeah,
So
make it interesting here.
that's acceptable. You're playing against mid-tier Nick. How do you feel about his team?
How do I feel about? Let's see. Well, already right off the bat, he has a lot of Kansas City players, and by a lot, I mean more than one.
Hmm.
Mm.
So
So
that's a sin you can't forgive.
yeah, unfortunately,
Hmm.
he
How do you feel about the fact that he's rostering Jerry Duty Joe? Isn't he one of your favorite players?
Jersey Jody?
I don't know. Is he a felon though? I don't remember if he did anything in
No, he
particular.
didn't.
I like his name.
He's an upstanding citizen, but
Oh yeah, so I mean, he's only okay then.
He was your keeper a couple years ago and you spelled his name wrong.
Oh yeah. Oh, in the text.
Yeah.
That couldn't have been me. It must have been somebody else on my phone.
Mm.
Yeah, that does seem to happen a lot.
Yeah.
Try setting a password on that thing. Um, but Nick, what other matchups are you looking at this week?
Yeah, there's a lot of good ones. The Ducky against Carson matchup is probably the most consequential. Carson's 3-3, but his team has been really good this year going up against Ducky, who has a 5-point lead right now, which is not a great thing, seeing as that is Alvin Kamara, one of his better players. It's
Yeah,
a close matchup, 107, 109. Ducky has incredible amounts of not great players on his bench.
yeah, and after Kamara only scored 5 points, he actually is in the hole on the projection.
Yeah,
So
and we know what Carson did last week, right, John? Where his Thursday Night Football score beat your final score.
Even if I played those two players, would I have won?
No, you wouldn't have won the week, I don't think. But his Thursday Night Football is incredible, where three of his players scored over 20. So
Yeah, see, I was just giving my players a rest,
yeah, you got to
you
save
know?
it for the weeks that count.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, don't load up on points in 1 week. Classic fantasy mistake I see in people.
Yeah,
Mm.
I mean, when the toilet bowl is in sight, you focus.
Yeah. Nate, you're right there with me. What are you talking about?
As we discussed earlier in the show, my team has been the victim of bad luck so far, being that it's fourth place in terms
Oh,
of point score.
your team is
Fourth
yeah.
place in point score is inarguable. It's an excellent team.
It's all about defense. I've
Yeah,
heard that from the current first place team, which I assume is Nick.
it's Kyle.
Kyle's the first, but oh, no shit.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
undefeated.
Oh, did Nick lose a game?
And Nick
Yeah.
did. I don't remember who beat Nick, but someone did.
Oh
Kenny
wow.
got the win over him 2 weeks ago.
Who did?
Kenny.
Oh, Kenny did. Yeah. My nemesis.
I'm used to Kyle's team being kind of shafted for a while.
Yeah, he did. He was our champion last year though. So
Yeah, no, I know. Like I guess the past couple of years have been great. Who is his keeper?
who was Kyle's keeper? It's a good question, and that actually brings us to the other matchup. Um, because this is another interesting one where the worst team is very competitive. It's Kenny and or sorry, Kyle and Shane. Shane's team has been very bad this year, but is set up for a good week.
Yeah, was his
He's
keeper
worse than mine.
Trey McBride his keeper?
I think Justin Jefferson might have been his keeper. No, that doesn't make sense.
No. Yeah, I
Uh,
think Titty McBitty.
T McBee, that does sound familiar now. Um, and yeah, the it looks like Devon Achane is back. Brees Hall is back in action, and Anthony Richardson's back in action. So Shane's team has a chance to do something this week, but will he pull it out, Nick?
Yeah, it's definitely going to be tough. He's projected 112, which he's only scored that one time. His bench looks pretty good as well right now, which is the tough. He has a lot of C-grade players in his team, like Javonte Williams, who scored 24 points last night. So he
Oof.
fell victim to that. A lot of fantasy players are going to be doing that, keeping Javonte on their bench. But yeah, would you have played Javonte over Austin Eckler in your flex, Nate? And you're knowing that
I
you wouldn't play a Thursday night player on your flex?
Yeah, I mean, I would have played him over Eckler, I think, just because Javante, well, he got off to a bad start, has been turning things around recently.
Mm.
The projections kind of support that idea. Not that those are always what I go after or go by, but yeah, I think I would have made the opposite choice here, actually. Um, and then meanwhile, Kyle is benefiting from our trade earlier in the season with Tank Bigsby making the starting roster. Of course, we could have anticipated that each him would get injured, but that's part of why how I sold him on Tank was that he'd be the starter if
Yeah.
in this situation. So good for him there.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, D'Ernest Johnson's catching up to him though. He played a lot more than any of the Jacksonville running backs last week. Hopefully, Tank's able to catch through. I think Kyle probably wins this matchup here.
I think probably so too, but it'll be an interesting one. He just needs Shane just needs one of these guys to go off, and he's in it. Who do
Definitely
you?
come down to Monday night this matchup though, which is pretty interesting. They both have two players playing Monday, including Kyle's quarterback. So
Who do you call for this game, John?
Yeah, I want Kyle to win.
Okay,
It's nice to have somebody below me reliably because I'm gonna
yeah,
win my week. So I increase my wins to 3, keep Shane at 1.
good
Which brings
point.
me to 1 point. You know what we should do? What about having like a punishment for last place? I feel like
We've
we're a good company to talk about this because we're all fighting for it, especially Nate.
I think I've advocated for some kind of punishment in years past. It's the kind of thing that everyone has to be down for because there's nothing. I think it always kills a tradition if one person refuses to do it. So you have to kind of balance also how bad it's going to be.
One of my buddies did it, and what they do is you have to like run a race. You pick like a distance, like it's a 10K or like a 5K, and it's like, okay, loser has to train and like post their time, which is kind of a cool idea. So it's not like anything like crazy, but it's something.
And you have to wear a shirt that says "I love Nate" or something.
Oh, that'd be great. Yeah. I don't know, but I love Nate. That's too much. But
That's punishment enough.
It could
might be, yeah.
could do something, yeah, for the winner, perhaps.
Oh, okay.
Like clean their car or whatever. I don't know.
God
It's
forbid if I win a year. I'd feel bad for that person.
um, but yeah, it's worth discussing. Obviously, we can't enact it this year. I think discussions happen, but if maybe this is the year if we finally put something like that into place, I think it would be fun.
Yeah.
Because then it gives people something to fight for on the other end of the spectrum too. Because I know like
Right,
Katie.
because like, oh, sorry.
No, go ahead, John.
Oh, well, yeah, because otherwise, like, I think it like at the end of the season, like you're incentivized to try to trade away players to get next year better. But if you have the threat of having to do whatever, maybe it makes it a more healthy league.
Hmm.
Yeah, no, I like that as an incentive as well. Um, so yeah, I'm pro this. So it's just a matter of we'll have to maybe bring it up with other folks as they come on the show as the season goes on. But before we run out of time for today, I also just want to talk about the waiver wire. Um, Not a lot of money spent this week except for Matt, who just spent $25.
Yeah.
Um,
No, you got it. Jacoby Myers was the number one guy on waivers just because he was there and he's a good player. And Devontae's not in the team anymore. But I don't know if that was necessarily a great pick. I put $1 on him just to see if I could get him for cheap.
yeah, I was very surprised by the $10 spent on the Bengals. They're in 29th place right now. They're
They
in,
definitely have a good matchup this is it Cleveland this week? So they have a good matchup this week.
yeah, but are you playing them against the Eagles? I don't know about that.
Yeah.
So I don't think I would have spent that much, but yeah, I guess if that puts you over the top in a competitive week, I suppose. I tried to pick up the Bills for two. Actually, Kyle snatched them up. They have a very good matchup this week. You got Dearness Johnson. I got this kicker. My kicker was on bye. That was nothing. Um,
Mm.
and then Garendo was a flyer that I think Ducky kind of got away with for $1.
Yeah,
Um,
Rendo and Sean Tucker there. Both are going to get a little bit extra work in the next week or so. Both rookie running backs there. But
but I think we
yeah.
got to wrap up here.